Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Wayne, and I'm an alcoholic. This is One Sober to Another, and today's daily reflection for 6th December 2020, when the chips are down. Let's go. Well, folks, glad to see all your smiling faces. Hope you made it through your Friday and Saturday without a drink. And today, we're going to get a little Sunday motivation. And guess what? I didn't do this on purpose, this One Sober to Another t-shirt and this One Sober to Another coffee mug. But if you want to pick them up, go to streamlabs.com. You can pick them up if you just put it in the merch part. All right, I'm not good at pitches, but anyway, dope, right? So let's do this, folks. When the chips are down, when we developed still more, we discovered the best possible source of emotional stability to be God himself or herself, depending on where you're at. We found that dependence upon his perfect justice, forgiveness, and love was healthy, and that it would work where nothing else would. If we really depended on God, we couldn't very well play God to our fellows, nor would we feel the urge to wholly rely on human protection and care. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 116. It has been my experience that when all human resources appear to have failed, there is always one who will never desert me. Moreover, he is always there to share my joy, to steer me down the right path, and to confide in when no one else will do. While my well-being and happiness can be added to or diminished by human efforts, only God can provide the loving nourishment upon which I depend on for my daily spiritual needs. Well, that's interesting because I chose not to do the daily reflections yesterday. And, well, I read them, but I chose not to publish them because I wanted to kind of merge them into today. Yesterday's daily reflection for 5 December, A New State of Consciousness, kind of described this whole spiritual awakening concept. For me, folks, I did expect a grand gesture, and I expected like all sorts of types of awesome miracles to happen, which didn't readily happen, and I was kind of disappointed at first. But as my problems became smaller in my sobriety and my family started to come back together and things started to progress within my career, I realized that my spiritual awakening was me working the program, doing the things I had to do in order to stay sober and to start living sober. And my spiritual awakening came through that because I didn't have to have this grand one state miracle happen. These little things were all kind of falling into place, and that was due to the strength from my higher power guiding me in the right way. That's where it comes to when the chips are down. For me, folks, when the chips were down, they were down hard. And if you're an alcoholic like me or an addict, you know exactly where I'm coming from. I mean, throw some comments in the box below because someone else is going to need them. Because right now, someone else is feeling like there's no one else who understands. But they don't quite have that whole spiritual awakening and that whole God concept into place yet, which is okay because not everybody believes in God. And little sidebar, I am really blinding myself with this light, but that's okay. So I chose not to do the daily reflections yesterday as a video because I wanted to give you guys some breathing room because, you know, not everybody wants to hear me every single day, but it is a benefit to read the daily reflections every single day. To steer me down the right path and to share my joy and my experiences and everything else. And, you know, to coincide or to confide in when no one else will do. You know, and it's not every day you want to spill your guts out to some complete strangers. And I love spilling my guts out to you guys because somebody somewhere is going to wake up, look at this channel and say, I needed that today. Somewhere. And that's the whole goal of this. And for me to know that I have my God, and God might not be your thing, like I said. Choose a higher power of your choice, something that gives you strength beyond yourself. I choose to like spill my guts out to my higher power and to put that all on the table. A lot of times with my sponsor as well, but through this daily reflection, I can silently just dump all my garbage onto my higher power. My higher power is going to take it, and even better, my higher power is going to give me some strength. My higher power is going to guide me where I need to be. And when I have my small successes, like on this channel, because believe it or not, folks, we surpassed 3,000 subscribers, and I want to thank each and every one of you. And, if that wasn't the case, then that means that nobody was listening. You know what I mean? I think I just kind of jumbled that up, but that's all right, because I'm an alcoholic. Sometimes my mind gets all scrambled up and scrambled egg-like. So, it's not often that, people will not let you down, if that makes sense. It's very easy to dump all your chips into somebody and get disappointed. Once that happens, that could be the determination of, are you going back down the rabbit hole or not? A lot of us end up going back down that rabbit hole, and that ultimately ends in a relapse. And, that's kind of where I'm trying to stray away, is it kind of, relying on my higher power kind of sets me in a path where I don't have to, it sounds bad, but I don't have to depend on another person in order to be happy. And codependency, folks, is one of the primary catastrophic drawbacks of being an alcoholic or an addict. Is we are hugely codependent, whether it be with the person we're using with, or the person we're drinking with, or just that companionship that is wrong or right. Most times it ends up badly. It goes with sex as well. Sex is human nature, folks, and it's also part of, calamity. Because I don't know if you've ever had bad sex, but, a lot of times people walk away very dissatisfied and very unhappy with the other person, just the way it is. And then when you have great sex, you both smile at each other, and, you touchy-feely and all that stuff, and, everybody's happy. But the same kind of lies when, they disappoint you, that other person that you rely on so much, it only ends badly. And, that's just my experience, folks. And in my experience, that all human resources appear to have failed. I went through counseling, and I went through, psychotherapy, and I went through, seeing a doctor and everything else to get medication in order to kind of come off this alcohol bit. Because I thought that was going to be my answers, is just to get a little, get a couple tools that will help me to understand why I'm drinking in the first place, and that I'll be okay. And then there's no more work that is necessary. Maybe some medication, and on and on and on. Well, for me, it didn't work. I drank over the Antabuse, which is very dangerous, by the way. So if you're on Antabuse, and I still can't remember the name of it, don't drink on top of it, because it is horrible and it is so painful. And you could kill yourself that way. So don't do that. I drank over naltrexone. I had my counselor, and I was able to fool them for a little bit. I could not fool my higher power, though. My higher power knew that I was doomed. And the only way that I could adjust the way that I felt about alcohol was to, A, work the 12 steps. And that's just me. I work a 12-step program. And once I got to step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, and to carry this message to the alcoholic who still suffers, and in my case, addicts as well, because they can benefit from it. And a lot of Narcotics Anonymous is kind of built around the AA concept. It is different, because trust me, folks, addiction is on a whole different level than alcoholism. Both are horrible. Both are damaging, and both can kill you. But addiction is definitely different. Where was I going with that? I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. But, so I worked the program, and, you know, to have that spiritual awakening and see those small things happening in my life allow me to know that there's a higher power. There's something greater than myself, and it did restore me to sanity. We found the dependence upon His perfect justice, forgiveness, and love was healthy, and that it would work where nothing else would. If we really depended upon God, we couldn't very well play God. There was times that I preached, and there was times that I felt that I was a little bit more superior than other folks because I found the way out. Well, I didn't. I didn't find it on my own. I found it through my higher power. And I have to live it every single day in order to keep it, and I have to give it away to you folks in order to keep it as well. Man, I'm stumbling on my words today, but that's all right. It's early in the morning. And what had happened was is that for my first couple sponsees and for my Army substance abuse group, I found myself saying you should, you would, you could, and you will. Well, I was definitely playing God in that factor because I felt a little bit good about myself, and I thought that I could make other people do the same thing and that would benefit them in the same way. Nope. This program and their recovery and my recovery are totally separate. My recovery is my recovery, and I can only speak for myself. Your recovery is your recovery, and what you do with it is on you. I was trying to tell people how to do their program in my beginning, and it didn't go well. Matter of fact, it went off as I was arrogant and pompous, and that they were small. That's how they felt. I know because they told me. And I felt like I was way up in the clouds and that everybody should do what I was doing. So I cannot play God. And that kind of sucked because, it did suck. Because once I tried to take on that realm and take on those handles, I lost control of not only their sobriety, but mine as well. And as you see, I thought I was holding their sobriety, but it's not mine. But I do have to give mine away in order to keep it. Anyway, I think I rambled on enough for today's daily reflection, and I hope I didn't lose anybody. And a quick shout out to AK Free Your Ghost. She got her bachelor's degree, and I think that's freaking awesome. If you know her, or if you want to send her a shout her out on Twitter at AK Free Your Ghost, or on Instagram. Just give her a thumbs up, tell her awesome job, because that's just proof that the program works and that everybody's recovery will lead to a better place. Not always great, folks, but a better place and a better way to deal with it. That's it for today's daily installment of Daily Reflections. I'm one sober to another. Life's a garden digging, folks. I'm going to see you in the next one.